Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand or 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Make sure you pick up my two books that's in Amazon right now. The first one is Passive-Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy. And I talk about in that particular book how the system of white supremacy really runs on our daily lives here in America. In our latest book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we go through those steps to try to deprogram you from the system of white supremacy. Make sure you can pick up those books on Amazon.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
All right, boom. There we go. I thought, I didn't know my thing wasn't on. Okay, now we on. Perfect. Well, what I was saying, shout out to everybody. I was talking about my little girl. We was talking about this weather because it's September 23rd, and she's like, when it's going to cool down? And I was like, it's not going to cool down until, at least at night, it'll kind of halfway start cooling down. Around the 15th or so, I noticed of October down here, and then as we just keep trucking along, it'll get better at night. Then it slowly kind of backs off a little bit during the day here. But, I seen some people last time I talked about the weather, you say, oh, I would love to have an extended summer. No, you wouldn't. Not here, because the problem here is the humidity. That's the problem. I don't care about being 90 degrees. like in California, right? Southern California. It could be 90 degrees and I could be out there. Like, I think the last time I went to California, I took my kids and then my little grandson. We went to Disney out there in California. It was like 88 degrees, but there was no humidity. I was cool being outside like that. But you be down here, 88, 92, 95 degrees, you feel like you're in a freaking oven. That's the difference. Why I don't like the summers here anymore. That's the difference. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So we're going to talk about, y'all favorite vice president of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris tonight. And, we was kind of having our weekly meeting, and we were just discussing is that y'all just like when we talk about Vice President Kamala Harris. We talked about Diddy over the weekend, and y'all didn't really respond to talking about Diddy too much, at least from me, because maybe, some people, like I like to dive into the music industry topics actually, because it's some deviance in that music industry. But when I talk about Vice President Kamala Harris, y'all like to hear that. The Democrats, like I say, listen, what I do, I'm gonna let y'all know something. I have a whole board to my left, a couple of boards, and I live to write down every topic I know y'all like. And so, when you say, well, why don't you talk about this and the third? Always remember with people making content or even on TV, we all look at ratings. Now, ratings for us is like the viewership, the likes, joining the app, supporting events, things like that. And speaking about events, let me talk to you about that. 2025. We want to do some events next year, traveling the country doing events. I said 2025 is my year to be outside a lot more and not be behind this desk. I was talking with Kellen about a lot of that, and I said, yeah, I'm going to have to kind of get outside a little bit, in this capacity. I'm going to have to go to different cities and do different events. I'm going to have to, attend certain conferences. I'm going to have to be on the continent a little more so I can make some connections, definitely in the countries that we got, things going on in, like Kenya and South Africa. So I got to be outside a little bit more next year. So when I mean about the event, so 6 years ago, we did an event right here in Houston, and I maybe some of y'all still here that went to that event in Houston, and this is back then, right? Not even now. We had it at the Hotel Derrick in a room. We had security tight. We had the FOI doing all security, checking bags, doing all that. FOI was good, right? We got them to do security, and we serve everybody food and drinks, and then I think at the time, I was there, and then of course I think it was Brother Derek Muhammad, Willie D came through, Brother Yakanah came through, and I think Dr. Moonby was there at that one. Then we also did one in Atlanta as well. The Atlanta one was really packed out. And I really enjoyed that. Believe it or not, I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to actually start doing more of that. But then the pandemic hit in 2019. So that shut all them events down. You remember that when 2019. So I just kind of backed off from it, and I say, oh, well, but I've been talking about it and saying, 2025, we got to get back to doing events, because I know what cities in the U.S. support us, and even on the continent, cities that support this platform and watch a lot, so I want to target cities that support the platform. And so, if y'all, you say you saw it on YouTube, if you saw it back then, or you was a part, you went, we want to do that a little bit better in 2025. So just letting y'all keep an eye open on that. All right. You say some deviance in the Democrat Party. Oh, yes. Politics, all that got deviance, right? But with that being said, let's go ahead on and do a quick devotion. It'll be something new, right? I thought it was funny. This is actually a parody video, to let y'all know, but this is actually, I thought it was funny. But let's go ahead and cue this up real quick, and then we're going to get on talking about Vice President Kamala Harris.
To the extreme and violent nature of this crime, this court finds it fitting to try the defendant as an African American. Henceforth, you will be referred to for the jury by the name Bondell Brown.
Once the trial begins next week, all courtroom images of Hannah will depict her as a 300-pound muscular black man, and jury members will be instructed to imagine her as such.
We're going to do our best to make sure that Hannah is treated with the sympathy and sensitivity that she, as a photogenic white girl, deserves.
This is America. Nobody deserves to be treated as a black man.
Now that Hannah has been ruled black, the court has instructed local media to assume she's guilty, and the police have retroactively charged her with assaulting her arresting officer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I said, yeah, that's funny, but you know what? That's actually true. Nobody in this country want to be treated like a black man, or a black woman for that matter. Let's call it what it is. It's been many of them that have been asked that question. You want to trade places with black people? And everybody like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. Whatsoever. All right. So we know class in session. We know that. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to, where we at? Vote.gov. We almost coming up in October, ladies and gentlemen. And it won't be long for you to go cash your ballot. Some of you can cash your ballot right now with early voting. I think some people can do mail-in voting. Like I said, we have until the 21st of this month, October, to go do voting, and I can't wait to go do mine. Like I told y'all before, I'm ready for this election to be over with so we can see who we going to get one way or another. So we know we need to do one way or another, right? But make sure you go to vote.gov to register or update your information in your state. All right. So Vice President Kamala Harris, there was some videos that kind of was put out with her. We want to talk about two of them. And then this third one we really want to talk about tonight. So, they always talk about Trump and he wants to be a dictator and all of that sort of thing. Okay. All right. Even though there's nothing in the Constitution that would allow him to be a dictator, if you actually knew your Constitution, if you knew how the government worked, no matter what Trump says, he cannot be a dictator in this country. But unfortunately, some people actually believe that. And the Democrats are running with that. Like, they know good and well he can't be a freaking dictator. Because if he was a dictator, then why did he leave office? Right? If he was going to be one, he probably would have been one 4 years ago. Or the other time he was in office, I can't even say 4 years ago now. But he'd have been one. Right? So they're running with that. The Democrats are also running with the Project 2025 thing. I don't like it because it's a lie. I say it's a lot of things you can talk about Trump with that's actually truthful. So why you got to lie? Anyway, so Vice President Kamala Harris, and the Democrats, they believe in censorship. And they believe also, some of y'all loving the prosecutor now, right? I thought y'all was, fighting for the community. I thought y'all was fighting for people to not be mass incarcerated, and prosecutors have a lot to do with mass incarceration. We know about the Sentencing Project. Black Americans are, incarcerated for longer sentences, and they're exonerated the most out of all groups of people. But black people, some black Americans, not all, but some black Americans love a prosecutor now. Okay, cool. Well, let me play a clip of y'all favorite prosecutor, since y'all love a prosecutor. And I just want to know what y'all think about y'all prosecutor here. So let me roll this.
I learned, I think I was, 22 when I started that work. I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. And because of the swipe of my pen, that person could be arrested. They could sit in jail for at least 48 hours. They could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community. All because of the swipe of my pen. Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed. So I learned at a very young age the power. The power I have as a prosecutor is that with a swipe of my pen, I can charge someone with a misdemeanor, the lowest level offense possible. And by virtue of that swipe of my pen, you will have to go to a courthouse and stand in line. You will have to come out of pocket and hire an attorney.
You may get arrested for a few hours. You will be embarrassed in your community. You will miss time from coming onto the Google campus. All because with the swipe of my pen, I've charged you with a crime, which I may choose to dismiss 2 weeks later. It's an incredible amount of power.
Okay, I'll get to this point, because that's the second part I want to get to. But let's go back to this, right? Let's go back. Now, the scriptures teach out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Now, I want you to listen to what she says one more time and how she views her pen, and why we have up here on the lower third, Vice President Kamala Harris enjoyed the power to potentially ruin lives. Let's roll that one more again, as some people would say.
I think I was, 22 when I started that work. I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. And because of the swipe of my pen, that person could be arrested. They could sit in jail for at least 48 hours. They could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community. All because of the swipe of my pen.
And she is, let me stop that real quick. She's grinning the whole time she's saying this. But this is, but listen, hold on. To y'all who support her, okay? It's your American right. You can vote for her if you want to. I can't stop you. And I'm not, because I'm not in the voter booth with you. But you mean to tell me that's what you support? That's the prosecutor you support. If any prosecutor you should be supporting Marilyn Mosby. Why don't you go support her? And she's a Democrat, but I support her. You know why I support Marilyn Mosby? Because Marilyn Mosby was trying to stand on business for black people. She did. And she was railroaded by that same Democrat party that she's a part of. She was railroaded. So if Marilyn Mosby ran for something, I could support her. I may not agree with all her politics, but I seen Marilyn Mosby actually stood up for black people. She did put charges on all those cops. She were trying to prosecute all of them. And they undermined her cases and got those, and nothing really happened to the cops. And it was after Marilyn Mosby, ever since then, until they got something on her. Now, if you're going to support a prosecutor, support that one. But no. You're not going to support Marilyn Mosby and how she was done wrong, okay? You're going to support this one, who's grinning about putting charges on black people. Let's call it what it is. Well, she's going to put charges on white people. Let's call it, in California, there's more black people locked up in jail, and then after blacks, Hispanics. She's not putting white people in jail, because if she was putting white people in jail, like mass incarcerating white people, they'd have found some sort of charges on her, or at minimum got her voted out. She would have never became attorney general putting white people, mass incarcerating white people. So let's stop. Look at all the black people that she did this to with the truancy in California. How she was putting black single mothers in jail for truancy with the swipe of her pen. But she was a soror when she was doing that too, right? I mean, now listen, I don't think the AK, at least I would, and maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think the AKAs would be proud of mass incarceration, right? Listen, I'm giving the AKAs the benefit of the doubt. I know some AKAs, very nice women. None of them have been mean to me, right? They got AKAs that's probably in the chat right now. But if you're AKA, are you proud to hear your soror saying that? I don't think that's the guidelines of to be an AKA is mass incarceration. Not what I've heard. She want to talk about Trump being a dictator, but she was happy about her pen. And if she's happy about her pen being a prosecutor, my God, if she becomes the president, what will she do then when she really got a pen? Or maybe am I the only one seeing this? That's disturbing. Let's continue.
Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed. So I learned at a very young age the power.
You know, the power I have as a prosecutor is that with a swipe of my pen, I can charge someone with a misdemeanor, the lowest level offense possible. And by virtue of that swipe of my pen, you will have to go to a courthouse and stand in line. You will have to come out of pocket and hire an attorney. You may get arrested for a few hours. You will be embarrassed in your community. You will miss time from coming onto the Google campus. All because with the swipe of my pen, I've charged you with a crime, which I may choose to dismiss 2 weeks later. It's an incredible amount of power.
She repeated that twice. The incredible amount of power. And someone that enjoyed that kind of power, because you were enjoying it so much to the point that you were being braggadocious about it. Well, I may just dismiss it 2 weeks later. Basically, after I ruined your life. Basically, what she was telling y'all is lawfare. She can wage lawfare. Because lawfare will literally ruin your job, empty your bank account out, try and put you in jail. That's lawfare. And she has no problem with lawfare, just as much as she has no problem with censorship. She doesn't like people like myself and many others that have an opportunity to talk to you. She wants us regulated. Because we aren't part of the propaganda machine like ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, all them, right? They're part of the propaganda machine. She said that she wants these microphones regulated. And unfortunately, people in the Democrat Party, there are people in the Democrat Party that want to give away their rights. They want to give away their freedom of speech. They want to give away freedom of the press, because technically what we're doing is freedom of the press. They want to get rid of freedom of the press through regulation. They want to infringe on your 2A. They really don't believe in due process like talking about, right? This same party will say to people, my body, my choice. But when it comes to certain medications at a certain time, a couple of years ago, it wasn't my body, my choice. It wasn't the government shouldn't be telling me what to do with my body, because remember, it was her administration waging their power, wielding their power to force you to put something that you stood against. Maybe if you did, for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but it's just something you didn't want to do. And the power they had is, well, if you don't do what I tell you to do, you're going to be broke. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're not going to be able to feed your kids unless you do what I tell you do. You better understand who's the real quote unquote dictator at this point. Last time I checked, Trump didn't make us do that. It was the choice with him, but with her and Biden, and you hear that's how she feels. She feels that I got my pen and I got some power that I'm wielding through this doggone pen right here. And if you go out there and you give her the ultimate pen with the real power, what would she do then? It's just a question I'm asking y'all. What would she do then if she got the real pen of power? What would she do? Yeah. And that's another thing. if they just keep trying to label you, like you said, insane, you're crazy, you're insane, you're crazy, and you see this stuff coming up on you, because this is how it works. First, the media attacks you. That's how it starts. Then after intense media attack and waging a propaganda campaign against you, then they try to come at you civilly, then maybe civilly, it could be criminally. If you see the media attacking you just out of nowhere, it just won't stop. This is why I tell you, have your passport. And get yourself up at that point and just go with your newfound friends somewhere for a couple of years. Chill out over there for a couple of years. And then, because if you're not here, they can't really say much about you at that point, right? So you get out the way. You stay out of here at least about 2-3 years, maybe even 4 years. If you do come back here, you just come back here just to visit friends and family and get right back out. You don't really hang around. Or you may have to fly friends and family out to you just for a couple of years, just to keep your distance. But I've seen the play. I see how they do it. It could be a documentary. That's still a media attack. It's a lot of ways they get you. And my job and what I do here is study. Study to show thyself approved. Study the tactics. Study how they move. Study. Watch what happens to other people as part of studying. Say, okay, that happened to him. Let me write this down. I don't want to do that. Oh, this would happen to her. Okay, I don't want to say that. You have to study the tactics and remember them, and don't think that people are playing with you. Because sometimes black people don't take things seriously until they get into the thick of the issue and the thick of the problem. Great February says, I notice how quick Democrats are to dismiss Dr. Cornel West, a real black person, to defend it's a Indian woman playing as black. Well, I mean, it is what it is, but she's part of the agenda. Now, what is the Democrat agenda or the Democrat playbook? We're talking about the Democrats. We know it's open borders. We know it's not prioritizing black Americans. We know it's transferring resources to the migrants, with the open border policy. You can't have an open border policy and then don't make sure they can be here and live and work and be self-sufficient. That's all part of the Democrats' plan. It's an open border policy. And the open border policy alone should make the Democrats lose, but unfortunately, we have a lot of black Americans, and I don't talk about our community. I know there's others in the Democrat Party, but I want to focus on us. There's a lot of black Americans who feel that issue is not an issue. They welcome it and all of that, right? And at one point in time, I felt that way too. So I understand why they feel the way they feel, because one, it doesn't affect them until they get in their neighborhood. Then they're going to start talking different, like Chicago, like New York. Then they'll start talking different when they're affecting them, right? But as of right now, a lot of them feel that, it's okay for them to come until one of the Venezuelan gangs do something to their house or to their family member. Then they're going to want something done. I've traveled to other countries. No other country has an open border like the United States of America right now. No other country. No other country that I've traveled to do not prioritize foreigners. And if they do start prioritizing foreigners, it become a problem. Like, for instance, when I was in Turkey, I had a conversation with a Turkish woman, and she was talking about the Syrians. And she was saying, the Syrians keep trying to come over here, and the government want to do this and give them certain things because they was coming over for refugee status. But Syria was like a war zone, okay? All these other people that's coming, they're not living in a Syria. They're not. When you coming from, the Caribbean, that's not a war zone. You come from the African continent, that's not a war zone. Latin America is not a war zone in none of those areas. So if someone from Syria, they have a little bit more of a claim, right? Because of all the war and all stuff going on in Syria. But that lady didn't like the fact that Syrians was coming over there, that the government was even giving them asylum. She had a problem. She said, hey, the citizens here are more important than these Syrians. Oh, she was not happy about the Syrians. And I'm an American. I'm listening. I say, you know what? And this was back a few years ago. I said, we do have an immigration problem, really, too, and people say it's asylum. And I said, but the United States give away more than what you're talking about. I said, they give them. I was going through homes and apartments, food. They give them jobs. She's like, oh, the United States do all that. Say, how do you guys even allow that? And that's what I'm always asked when I talk about what happens here. Every person outside the country say, how do we, as American citizens, allow it? Because they put it back on us. They don't say, well, your government. They say, how do y'all allow it? But we know it's allowed because we have people who will vote for those parties that support that, right? They will support that. So on top of wielding power, and you know this prosecutor will wield all kind of power, do you think it's going to work out good for Black Americans? See, that kind of prosecutor, if you're speaking up about migrants, she'll try to put hate crime charges on you, that prosecutor. Or she's going to get her particular attorney general maybe start prosecuting people that talks about migrants, saying it's hate crime. Remember, her pen, right? She enjoyed that, to shut you up. Maybe she'll put them charges on you and then dismiss them after a couple of months, just to mess with you. That's her words, not mine. Now, let's get to something else y'all need to pay attention to on top of her pen.
Deportation. Up with education. Down with 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 deportation.
Okay, all right. So what they were saying, if you couldn't make it out, ladies and gentlemen, up with education, down with deportation. That was a video from a couple of years ago that's just kind of resurfaced. And hasn't that been the mantra of the Biden-Harris administration? I can't say the education part, but definitely down with deportation. There was a Venezuelan migrant who committed a crime in Chicago. ICE said to hold him because we're going to come get him. They decided to let him go, and he ended up going to Denver and committing crimes in Denver. So even when they commit crimes in this country, the Democrats are protecting criminals. But if it's a black man or a black woman who's committing a crime, black American man or woman who's committing a crime, they're not going to protect you. You're going to go to county jail. You're going to go to prison. That's where you're going when you commit crimes. But when they commit crimes, they get to get out of jail. They can attack cops, and they're not shot 17, 18 times. Notice that? They have been literally attacked. You remember when them migrants in New York had attacked an NYPD officer? Now, if a black person just grabbed their cell phone in front of them, they pull out their weapons and unload the whole magazine. The migrants physically attacked an NYPD officer that we all saw on tape. And all of a sudden, those guns they didn't work all of a sudden. They magically did not use them. They're committing so many crimes, and we're not seeing about a migrant was shot 17 times in the back. That's why we call them race soldiers, because they only would do that to black people. They will gun down black people for anything. Traffic stop. Oh, I thought he had a gun. I thought he had one. I didn't see one. I thought he had one. And even if you see one, okay, we live in a country that has 2A. Is he pointing it at you? Is he about to do something to you? But then when their own people have firearms, I've seen traffic stops where police officers lost their lives because they were just so lax with their own. They lax with them. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it's right there. And the whole time, this dude was plotting to take the life of that police officer. How many times y'all seen those videos? They be on YouTube and other sites. But a black person, some of them walking up to the car holding their gun. Like, so if you're a migrant, you don't have to worry about, what's happened to a lot of black people. You don't have to worry about that. See, the migrants have more of a privilege in this country. They can commit crime and don't have to worry about getting shot. But if you jaywalk as a black person, you have to worry about possibly getting shot or losing your life. So once again, it goes back to what that Turkish woman told me. How do we allow that? How do we allow it? You mean to tell me that Vice President Kamala Harris says down with deportation? It's okay to attack the police. I thought she was a prosecutor. I thought she was supposed to be supporting law enforcement, right? So you're not going to protect the cops. You're supposed to be a prosecutor. You let them get attacked by the people that you let in this country. Open borders, right? You've given federal dollars. The cities have given money. The state has given money to the migrants while the American people suffer. But you're out here chanting and dancing down with deportation. And y'all have and some of you who like to come to my page or that old school dude on TikTok that made some video about me. So you mean to tell me all this is okay with you? All this is okay. And this is why that Turkish woman said what she said to me. Why do y'all allow that to happen? Because we have a section of people in this country that allows it to happen. Because if all people was unified, it don't matter what community you come from, wherever. It don't matter. Your color, your religion. It don't matter about any of that, right? The block, two block. Thank you very much. Why aren't all American people? It shouldn't even matter about a political party. Why all American people aren't unified and say, wait a minute, hold on. They can't get special treatment, but we can't. How come they are getting all these food stamps, EBT? Do you know landlords are putting people out and evicting people, or not allowing them to renew their lease because they want the migrants to come stay in those properties so they can get more money from the government? The government is giving a lot of money to house migrants, to give medical services to migrants. They are charging literally triple the price. And they're all getting paid off of this migrant crisis that was created by the Biden-Harris administration. Everybody getting a bag. But the American citizens are getting a middle finger. And your tax dollars and mine is paying for it. Now, Violante says, how do you not just give in to despair about this? I don't give in into despair about anything because my motivation and my courage and strength that I have is rooted in the Lord. And I know the Lord is much bigger than all of them. And I know the Lord got my future in his hand as long as I stay righteous and try to do the right thing. As long as I don't be a deviant like P. Diddy in the gang. As long as I'm not doing things like that's evil in the eyes of the Lord, sinning in righteousness, then I have nothing to fear. But in my position, I have to be like John the Baptist, warning you, telling you what's coming or what could come if you do not heed the warning. That's what I'm here to do. You don't have to heed the warning. Nobody listened when it came to the flood either. They dismissed Noah too until the flood came, and then now they want to get in the boat. Okay, well, it's too late now. You can dismiss me. You can call me whatever name you want to call me. But if you put the lady in office that loves her pen, if you put the lady in office who says down with deportation, if you put the lady in office who has no problem giving resources to people who just got here yesterday, they don't need a credit score. They don't need a job history. They don't need anything. But me and you will be denied for homes, cars, business loans, grants, all kinds of things we'll be denied for. Oh, your credit's not strong enough. Oh, well, your work history. Oh, well, you missed a couple of payments on this credit card. And I know your credit was good all this time, but you had a bump in the road. So you got to go a year without missing a payment. They come in here. They don't have to worry about any of that. You don't hear not a single migrant talking about, man, I got to get some credit going. No. That's only for me and you, not them. So if you're going to put her in office, understand that's just what you're allowing. You understand? So how could I feel any kind of despair when it's the people in this country that's facilitating that? Well, a goddess Navi, listen, you got to always wake up in the morning with a positive outlook, okay? You got to, first of all, thank God that you woke up in your own bed in your right mind, that you can see, that you can hear, that you can speak, that you can walk on your own in the morning and go to the bathroom, take a shower, brush your teeth, wash your face, comb your hair, put some deodorant and lotion on and get dressed and start your day. You should also, in the midst of all that, thank God you got a roof over your head, that you got food to eat. It may not be 5-star, but you got some food to eat, right? If you got a car to drive, you got a job. Be thankful for that too, because some people don't have it. And when you focus on the basics, when you wake up in the morning, thank God for your family, your kids, your husband, your wife. Focus on the basics that you have, because some people don't have it. If you got your health and strength, focus on that, because some people don't have it. Some people woke up this morning in a hospital bed looking up at the ceiling. Some people are in a coma right now. You got to always think about those things. What is the most important? Then, after you focus on what's most important, right? All this other stuff that's going on is going to be a battle, but you do your part. And then sometime doing your part is this. You fight, you let other people know what's going on, you do everything you got to do. And hey, it comes to a point too that you got to say, okay, my days of fighting is over. Listen, every fighter retires. Every fighter going to eventually retire. And let the next group of fighters come right behind you. There is a time for you to go into retirement. In retirement, you can always give wisdom to the fighters to say, hey, don't make the mistake I made when I was doing this. And if they want to listen, but don't be so much caught up on the issues and problems in this country or any country, right? You could be listening in other countries. Learn to take the time to take some time off. Enjoy the ocean and the waves and shoot, go do some zip lining and horseback riding or something. If you like the amusement park, go do that. If you're a foodie and you want to do a food tour across America, go do it. Don't go so caught up in all these problems that you're not enjoying life. You understand? And when I'm certain ways, I have to back off from here and say, hey, I got to back off. Like for me, I need my Saturdays back. I've been doing streams on Saturdays. I need my Saturdays back. So how I'm going to do that, because I had to figure that out, at least starting tomorrow, I'm going to start doing the stream on the Emancipation Media. So I thought that, okay, well, if I do streams over there, that can make up for the Saturday that I do here, right? So I can have my Saturday and my Sunday back. So I can enjoy, because sometimes I need a recharge. Because dealing with all this stuff with Vice President Kamala Harris, the migrants, the system, and dealing with us, right? Like my grandma said, ain't Haggis cheering. Dealing with them sometime too. It's a lot. It's a lot. And y'all got to think about that. It's a lot. Sometimes black people, we die too early. Some of it is our lifestyle, but a lot of it is we don't enjoy life. And when I say enjoy life, I don't mean you got to do something that's reckless. I don't mean going to a Diddy party is enjoying life. I mean just something simple as, man, take your kids, somewhere. Let your kids enjoy life. Sometimes people go, you go do your couples trip, your girls trip, but what about the kids? Are you going to take the kids on the trip? Take the kids sometime. Let them enjoy life too. So we can focus on Vice President Kamala Harris and the Democrats. We all can get registered to vote, which we are all doing that, right? We're going to vote, but after that, if she win, okay, then we come up with how we going to deal with that for 4 years. If Trump win, how we going to deal with that for 4 years? Regardless, we got to live. We got to live, ladies and gentlemen. We got to live. No matter who get elected, we got to live. That's why I always say, have a plan A and a plan B. My deal is, like I told y'all earlier, I got to move around. I got to get outside a lot more in 2025. I got to move around. I don't have time to focus on Trump or Vice President Harris, no matter who wins. The things I got planned in my head for next year. And I want you to plan for next year too. Right now, make some plans. Do you need to go to school? Do you need to go to trade school? Anything that you maybe always wanted to do, someplace you always wanted to go. Some people going to Ethiopia with us in March, right? They never been. They say, you know what? I'm going to go. Shoot, I never seen it. Let's go, right? I appreciate those people. I've met so many people from this platform that say, man, I never thought to come over here to this country. Shoot, we say, why not go with people that's like-minded? And they enjoy their experiences. But some people never leave their neighborhood. They talk about the same problems every day. Listen, you in Chicago, Brandon Johnson is a problem. But Brandon Johnson not going to be around forever. Get Brandon Johnson out of there. Excuse me. And stop being afraid of change. That's another issue. The reason why a lot of you vote Democrat like that, to the point it's hurting you, is because you don't want to change. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, we already know what that is, right? And that's what a lot of you have been doing. Some of you are so emotional. That's not normal to be that emotional about politics or political party, especially with a lot of our people. We're so emotional about the Democrat Party. That's not normal. No other group of people are that emotional about a particular party. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen white people emotional. I haven't seen Asians. I haven't seen Hispanics. I haven't seen Arabs. I ain't seen Africans. I haven't seen Caribbeans be just so emotional about a party like we are as Black Americans. And I would understand if the Democrat Party had brought reparations to us. I would understand if the Democrats made sure all the laws was on the books and enforcing the laws on the books to protect Black Americans, to make sure we can get home loans, business loans, that we can get just some regular personal loans, grants, making sure that the banks are audited to make sure that we wasn't discriminated against, checking every area in this country, dealing with the race soldiers at the federal level. That way they'll put a stop to that, right? The things that they do to us. You understand? Edward Bloom just shut down the Fearless Fund, literally. Where's the Democrats coming out against Edward Bloom, okay, with the Fearless Fund. But if any of you sisters from the Fearless Fund are watching, Clint Terrell said, I love Phillip Scott podcast, not just political podcast, but other topics. If these politicians listen to him, both sides, this country wouldn't be as jacked up as it is now. I try to do my job, and I try to plant the seed, my friend. But the Fearless Fund, change the name, change the LLC. That's what you do. Close the Fearless Fund out. Just get rid of it. Come back with something new. What you do is you make the recipients be the freed men, freed women of America. Okay? The freedmen. The freedman is not based on race. That is a status that's given to us only by the American government. Even Clarence Thomas in the affirmative action case with the college admissions talked about, and he mentioned several times about freedmen. And when I seen Clarence Thomas saying that, I said, oh, Clarence Thomas, believe it or not, gave us the play about using the term freedman. And Neil Gorsuch had mentioned it once or twice too in his opinion. And I say, that's it. Because if you say black, that okay, well, here come Edward Bloom. But if you say freedman, he can't come at you because that's not race at that point. That's a lineage, the freedman. So if you want to do a scholarship for the freedmen of America, it's only one group of people in this country who are the freedmen. We had the Freedmen's Bureau that still, it's not what it should be, but it's still in existence on the federal level today, the Freedmen's Bureau. So what we have to do is we're going to have to get rid of the term black and use the word freedman when we talk about transferring resources exclusively to each other. Does that make sense? So if any of you sisters from the Fearless Fund come back with what I just said, and Edward Bloom can't touch you. He can't touch you because freedman isn't race. What is the criteria? You must trace your ancestors back to slavery. And your parents must be freedmen. They must be. And your grandparents and your great-grandparents must be freedmen. Because you're not going to pull no $5 freedman and say, well, my 4 times removed grandmother, she was a slave. That's not going to work, Becca. It's not going to work. Your mammy and your pappy has to be freedmen. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents. What plantation you came from? Which one? That's how you do it. Trust me. What Edward Bloom done to the freedmen with the Fearless Fund taught me the game. Taught it to me. If you go to Emancipation Media right now, look at the description and the language I use there. Look at it. I don't even say the word black. Go look at what language I'm using. I'm doing that for a reason. How did none of the lawyers come up with this argument? I don't know. But Edward Bloom can't sue and say freedman because that's not a racial classification. That is a lineage. And we are descendants of freedmen. And you have a right to transfer resources to freedmen. If you want to do something that includes the diaspora, you can welcome to do that too if you choose to. You could say freedmen and members of the African diaspora. That's not race at that point. If you choose to just include all black people into something, right? I'm saying if you choose to. If you want to do something specifically for the freedmen, then you can say for the freedmen. Definitely people that say, I only want to help the people in my lineage Okay, freedmen at that point. Then nobody can crowbar themselves into freedmen. Nobody can wedge themselves. See, other people can come here and say they black, but you can't say you're a freedman. You can't. And once again, it's a federal classification that's already on the books. That's the thing. You don't have to go work hard to get a new label on there when it's already there. And there's a history of it already. So, sisters, you know, yeah, I love to talk to y'all. I love to, you ain't got to be on camera. I love to sit down and talk with y'all and say, how, man, shoot, let's get this language right. Let's get some constitutional lawyers to sit down and see how tight y'all can redo this thing. Because you got to have some constitutional lawyers too. You got to, this is the thing. You got to appreciate Edward Bloom, because people like him just tighten your game up. Sometimes, oh, here he come. No, that's good, because you got to have people like him to make sure that we tight everywhere we go. Listen, you never have holes in your armor. Okay, that was a hole they can use. Okay, cool. Now you fix that. You fix it. That way nobody else could come behind him and try to stop us from transferring resources to our group. You say you don't agree with nor subscribes to FBA. Well, that's the term. Foundation of Black American, Freedmen. It's in the same realm, beyond with you. I'm just saying about more so what I read in Supreme Court decision. We have a history of being called freedmen. We had the Freedmen's Bureau. It's still kind of in existence now. It's not what it was originally supposed to be. I'm just saying, how do we Edward Bloom proof our anything? Like, for instance, if I came up with a scholarship and I say I want to give a scholarship directly to the lineage of people here. Now, if I want to do something for the diaspora, I'll say, hey, okay, well, this particular scholarship is for the diaspora. That means for everybody, right, in the diaspora, the African diaspora. But if I want to do it specifically for my lineage, then I say freedmen. That's the way I would do it. But even though I'm saying this, and it would be tight, I still would sit down with a constitutional lawyer and say, help me Edward Bloom proof what I'm about to do when I'm trying to transfer these resources. And that's all you need, is just a good constitutional lawyer. Yes, you say that's what FBA means. I know exactly what it means. Yes, but this is the thing. If you put on paper, I'm talking about, we got to think about Edward Bloom here. Even though we know it's a lineage, we got it. But when we think about Edward Bloom, and when he goes to try to sue for you trying to do something race-based, we just talking about Edward Bloom here. He can go after you if you say those words, because you're still putting race in it, right? So lineage is the way to go. I'm just saying what's already on the federal books without race would be freedmen. That's just the only thing. I'm not. You can call yourself FBA. That's fine. Okay, FBA. I know what it means. It's cool. Fine. But I'm just saying, when we start transferring resources to each other, like giving grants for businesses, scholarships, maybe you want to give $100,000 to maybe whoever, but you want to give it to a freedman business, right? Then you do that, because nobody can crowbar themselves into being a freedman. And nobody can crowbar themselves being FBA either. But I'm just talking about when you put it on paper and when you create contracts and all this other stuff. Remember, Edward Bloom going to try to come. So when he tried to send, what he did to the Fearless Fund, he sent a bunch of whites and Asians to try to apply for the Fearless Fund. And it was turned away because they wasn't black. So he used that to get the lawsuit going. But in order to get something from the freedmen, you got to say, okay, show me how you qualify. Show me that you're a freedman. Is your family on the 1870 census? Is your parents freedmen? What's a freedman? Basically a descendant of a chattel slave. It was in this country. Is your parents descendants from them? On both sides? Or like, is your grandparents descendants of them? How long have you been in this country? Your people should have been in this country from the beginning. You can't crowbar your way into freedmen either, right? But I'm just talking about Edward Bloom and with the Fearless Fund, right? You can say FBA and do that, say it. I'm not against it. I'm just talking about Edward Bloom and his tactics and how we can protect ourselves from trying to stop us from transferring resources to our people, just like the Asians transfer resources to their people and the white community and the Hispanic community. He not gonna mess with them. He only gonna mess with us. And you know why? Because he's anti-black, period. He's proven that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the live stream today. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the like button. That's very, very important. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, we will be streaming on Emancipation Media. Probably trying to go for noon, even though I got an interview I need to do by 11. But we're going to try to make it for noon. If not noon, it'll be 1 p.m. But somewhere around there, we'll get that going tomorrow. So make sure you check us out on Emancipation Media. And back here tomorrow